What's up, everyone? It's Dakota, and today I'm kind of opening up a new I guess it's kind of a discussion. So basically, as you can see, I have the banned and restricted announcement that we had yesterday, and I went over it in a video that actually got uploaded yesterday, giving my thoughts and opinions um, about like why things got banned, how I feel about them, that sort of thing. That you can check out, but go ahead and check it out after watching this, or go to that one. That I guess it doesn't really matter. Whatever you feel, I can't really tell you or control what you do, but this like discussion video really isn't something like on a topic that isn't new. I mean, it's kind of something that we've gone through for at least like the last few years as far as like standards concerned, and kind of like why bannings in standard, or at least like right after big events that we had like this past weekend, just kind of make things bland. So while while now more than ever, like MPL, Rivals League, even like some other like medium sized to like smaller like streamers and stuff like that, posting content like every day for Magic, whether it's like just after bannings in a format, like we get these new kind of like brews that end up becoming like metagame staples, eventually, and then further being optimized by people in the community or by even the person that brewed the deck themselves, and end up creating like this meta game that ends up shaping up like within a few days after bannings happen. And that's usually a good thing, right? Like we get new decks to experiment, play with, and figure out like what's the best strategy, or like what are the best combination of cards, best archetypes, and things like that. Shortly after we have something like this banning that we had, where Omnath was dominating the standard format and following suit with like Oko levels, even though technically Omnath had a higher percentage in this tournament than like Oko and stuff. Even though given the smaller sample size, I'm sure extrapolated that it wouldn't be really any different from what we have been seeing from standard in just the subsequent like sets and things like that. So basically, what the heck am I trying to get at? As I've rambled on pretty decently into this video. If you look at the Magic Esports YouTube channel, you obviously have videos of every single match, and even like a look in at some of the other matches in the videos that were going on in those rounds. And I, even after like the ban restricted announcement, I kind of wanted to watch the videos and stuff, because I just want to see the matches that I missed, see, kind of get like an insight on things that were going on. And the thing that I that kind of discouraged me from doing it is obviously the ban restricted announcement that you have up on your screen here, that we got yesterday, that I just have like no reason to watch it. And kind of the reason is because a lot of the decks that were brought were just meant to go against the grain and have like a better matchup against like the Omnath decks. So obviously, with that being said, like the majority of the field that were Omnath decks obviously just don't exist anymore, or are very much neutered, considering that they have literally three cards: Omnath, Lucky Clover, and Escape the Wilds banned from them. They just look like totally different decks. And some of the other decks that are just designed to beat them, with I think Demir Rogues to me being the exception, and possibly even like the Neoform combo deck in Historic. Really, like those decks, I think could have legs on their own, and like as we've seen with Demir Rogues, is a deck that people want to play, but really wasn't that good on a consistent basis, I believe, to Omnath, considering that a lot of like the data that was shown from the event suggested that Omnath decks that were supposed to beat the best deck, were maybe a 50-50, if not probably like a 40-60 against Omnath, which obviously is not a good thing. And I'm not saying that from this video that I don't think that these cards should have been banned. They definitely, at least Omnath needed to be banned, and then probably at least like Lucky Clover or Escape to the Wilds. But it sucks going back to those like big premiere events. Like that adds hours and hours and hours of content. Obviously streamed over 3 days, tons of matches to be played, tons of high level Magic, and it's just kind of nullified by the fact that like we have bans and stuff like this, and um, kind of like I think a new perspective just because I've played through the standards where like Emrakul and Smuggler's Copter were kind of like the standard Felidar Guardian, the energy decks, the mono red decks, things like that. And when you have very powerful formats and you have decks that are very polarizing to the format where 40-50% of players in triple and quadruple digit events like that's like they share 50% of the metagame. There's obviously something that needs to be done. Something is going to get banned, and then it just kind of devalues like that content that has been created from that event. Again, taking for example the events that we had just this past weekend, where a lot of the decks were just kind of built to beat these Omnath decks and geared towards just a more focused metagame, which is what happens when you have a smaller field, when you can kind of pick like the deck that the majority of the people are going to be on. But in reality, like it doesn't give you anything as like a deck builder because like while yes, like the tools to be on really it ends up being like the days after that are more impactful and like having to maybe not have the time to catch Reduke or even Andre Maguchi or whatever streaming to see like what they're bringing to standard, or watch Crokies, or possibly even Jeff Hoogland if he decides to come back to streaming. Like those people that stream tons of hours of just Magic content that you might not have time to catch them live or be able to even access Twitch at all until you just kind of get that free moment, and like being able to watch these kinds of videos just to like look back on these like premier events and just kind of figure out like okay, what's good, maybe see where things can improve, maybe plug in cards and things like that. And it's just kind of a shame that with the recent power level of standard sets that are coming out and like what's really making the format more powerful and uh, making it pretty interesting and very polarizing for certain cards, just also kind of defeats the premier level events and the information you can learn from those premier level events, because you can't really use them as a good reference, or at least in my opinion, use them as a good reference to figure out like what you should be playing and what cards you should be prepared for against. Because, like I said, most of the time it just ends up like those powerful cards end up getting banned a short time after, and really you're just trying to jump on the bandwagon to increase your rating and the on like the rank ladder on MTG Arena, or going to Magic Online and trying to win like chests and stuff like that, and hopefully sell off your cards and things like that to be prepared for possibly even the next broken standard deck, or the next best deck in standard, or possibly even moving to another format. Which, again, to me, standard is the one that really has like the big problem, because MTG Arena is such the big focus for WotC and the Magic esports and everything, uh, where this is really affected very heavily, because a lot of the content that is being put out by them is, or I think even exclusively, all that is arena content. So the fact that the formats that we're highlighting end up having like these massive changes and these very polarizing decks and things like that just kind of, to me, uh, de-incentivizes me from watching any of the events, or taking part in like deck building and things like that, and how do we move forward from these kinds of events when we have things like that. But that's my personal opinion. Everyone, obviously, I think is entitled to an opinion, and I do these kind of videos to open up discussion in the community, and I am very curious of like what people think. I know that most people like want bans, and like when cards are too powerful, they want bans just to try to shake up the format. And while I do think a lot of the times that like when cards get banned is very much necessary, I also think it's like the duty of like WotC and like R&D and things like that to kind of adjust like the power level and really like kind of bring things down to relatively the same level, which can be very hard when you have 20 plus years of cards and things like that for older formats and even standard, where obviously like you just can't like not print powerful cards, and like there has to be a balance between threats, answers, and basically anything in between. So really, like, is it just an issue of R&D not doing deep enough like playtesting of these cards like before they print them? Maybe it is. Maybe just the fact that we are able to solve metagames a lot quicker and be able to optimize, literally within hours of a deck list being posted, like being optimized, almost to its full potential within a day is insane. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think the bad thing is from a content creator standpoint, and especially from like an organization that wants to become a major esport, like I'm assuming to the levels of like League of Legends, like CS:GO and things like that, that having constant metagame shakeups makes it really hard for them to keep posting relevant content, but then also keeping in mind that the people that are just getting into this format and that they do want to, also incentivizing them to want to play it instead of having to just, you know, put money into a deck, watch it get banned a month or two later, or just even the casual person like buying cards, wanting to get into a standard, which should be the most accessible format, and then finding out that like half the cards that they bought or half the cards from like packs they opened are banned, and that there's certain cards that they can't play in a format where they should be able to play them, which again goes back to just uh, adjusting card design and everything, and just trying to have as much balance as possible with only having a few outliers, um, not having those outliers be overbearing to the point where the format is literally unplayable to the eyes of like the casual player, which is WotC's like biggest market when it comes to Magic. But that's enough. That's enough rambling for me. Like, there's some other things I could get into at another time. But for me, like the gist of it, if you've stayed till the end of this, is basically saying that like from from Wizards' standpoint, like R&D should also, like, while balancing a format is also important, I think the balance of the format, considering Magic wants to continue to grow, and obviously we all want Magic to continue to grow and be this great game that we know it can be, is really just trying to work on the balance so that while it's still fresh and people are able to play sort of kind of like whatever decks they want to play, and knowing that it could have the potential to like win a tournament or go on like a run on like the rank ladder, or just be enjoyable to play, and then also like content wise be relevant for them, for at least at least a few weeks after the event's over, not basically nullifying it like hours, not even 24 hours after the event's over, but feel free to let me know what you think in the comments of either just banning cards in like standard or even in other formats too. I know personally for me, like, it doesn't bother me in like other formats as much as it does like standard, and even a little bit of historic, but really like standard being like the big one given the fact of everything that's going on in the world right now. But yeah, be sure to leave those thoughts, ideas, things like that in the comments. I would love to discuss with the people that honestly feel like sharing their opinion. Also, be sure to check out any more content that comes on the channel here in the coming days. I'm gonna be trying to put up a video. Well, I've been saying this forever, but doing like at least 3-4 videos a week, just to put something up and discuss Magic, because I think it's definitely going on an upswing now, given the fact that like we're coming towards like the end of 2020. New set comes out, and obviously we've shown, WotC has shown that they're now not afraid to ban cards from a set that was just released, rather than letting it live for longer than it probably should. But yeah, be sure to let me know those thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it with people if you want to have them engage in the discussion. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's going to do it for me in this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next video.